Hi, in this video I'll talk about the ebook 10 Essential Rules for Smart Language Learning. It's actually not only a book, there's also the audio version of this book and interviews with the author. I think it's good to know that the interviews are quite funny and enjoyable. The two people there have a sense of humor. Is the content valuable? I'll talk about that a little later. The price of the book is quite fair. He has also published a couple of courses, and they are a bit more expensive. This is not a sponsored review, like nobody is paying me to make this. So someone might ask, shouldn't you be actually studying the language and not use your valuable time for reading some book? And it's a fair point. In some cases, like reading about some activity can be a form of procrastination. But I think it's more likely that you'll be wasting your time in the long run with ineffective learning methods. Yeah, maybe you have noticed in other areas of life that it's good to stay open to advice, especially if the author knows what he is or she is talking about. And the author of this book, Luca Lampariello, is really famous in the language learning community. He's famous for knowing many languages and reaching really high levels. And also he's famous for his excellent pronunciation that he has, at least in most of his languages. I haven't checked all of the languages he knows, and I'm not expert in all the languages in the world. But yeah, he definitely has some credibility. He has experience with coaching a lot of people, and as I understand, he he has gotten familiar with a lot of the challenges that people have with languages through his coaching. I think his book covers pretty well many of the most common challenges, mistakes people make with their learning. I have been watching his videos over the years, maybe already 13 years ago or something. I watched first interview of him. I have to admit that I've maybe felt some jealousy of his success, even though part of me has already known that people don't get results like he has just with luck, just with talent. Maybe it's a bit his communication style. Also, he speaks quite fast, and perhaps I'm a little intimidated with people who speak fast. I feel like, oh my god, they're so smart and so different from me. Recently, from his interviews and from this book, I've kind of understood in a more deeper level that he has these daily habits and systems that has brought the success that he has. And he has also struggled with ineffective learning methods early on in his language learning journey. One of the topics Luca Lampariello talks about is also how to make language learning more fun. And that's obviously an important topic, because if something is unpleasant, it's less likely to get done. And one of the fun things he recommends and effective things is listening a lot to the language that you are learning. So It's interesting that he talks about the percentages of activities, language learning activities. So, how many percent of your studying should be grammar study? How much should be listening and reading, kind of input? And how much should be ideally talking and writing? A lot of the traditional language study in school is very grammar heavy, like 70 or 80% grammar study, and that is not effective. And I think that's one of the reasons why people hate language learning, or think that they think that it's unpleasant, is because people imagine you have to study grammar for hundreds of hours. But as Luca Lampariello explains, you can learn and get familiar with a lot of the grammar just by listening and reading and writing example sentences down. And it's definitely an important thing to consider. Round about what percentage of the time should be spent on each of these activities. Like, maybe you don't necessarily need to count the minutes, but yeah, as a rule of thumb. Another important point Luca emphasizes is this emotional connection that you have with the language. And according to him, that comes from the vision about your target language. Imagining things that you want to do with the language, like what places you want to visit and stuff like that. I think many people imagine boring things when it comes to language learning, boring grammar study, or maybe this language will help me get an okay job or an okay romantic partner, husband or wife. Whereas I'm quite convinced that it's important to connect the language learning vision to your goals and dreams and hobbies. Another important topic Luca covers in his book is goal setting. So what's the problem, for example, with the goal like this year I'm gonna get fluent in my target language? This may be obvious to some people, but you need to have like little goals also along the way in order to reach that high goal of fluency, which I think it is an okay goal to have. But yeah, you need those small goals along the way also, and you need habits. The book and the interviews talk about building habits also. The book is relatively short, I would say, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I myself would have added a couple of other important points, but considering the price, I think it's a really good deal, and I think it covered the most important topics, the crucial elements of language learning. Like I said, the interviews are enjoyable, and it's a nice way to review the ideas in the book. Like, I mean, you may have a bad day, you may be tired, but you can always listen to some nice interviews, and they're actually in a video format also. So yeah, that's a chill way to revise the ideas. This book is not only about like techniques and chores like that. It's also about having an emotional connection with the language, and that's not something people talk too much about, I would say. It's a really valuable book, I would say. Yeah, thanks for watching this video, and I hope you'll check out my other videos also. So yeah, see you in the other videos, hopefully. Bye.